Lecture 3, Quality. Nothing will kill an innovation faster than messing up its quality. Now, we throw this word around all the time without really fully appreciating what it means. Innovators who deal with what we call regulated products, drugs, medical devices, nutritional supplements, foods, and even cosmetics, will often think of quality in these terms. QMS, or Quality Management System. ISO 13485 for medical devices. GMP, or Good Manufacturing Practices for drugs and even cosmetics. HACCP, or Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points for foods. But there's much more to quality than these terms or concepts. All the quality concepts in the previous slide are critically important. However, we often think about quality only in terms of manufacturing of an innovation. In fact, quality needs to be considered at all stages. Product design, product execution, product scale-up, and even sales and marketing. Now, in the world of medical devices, we get involved with quality early. That's a mandatory part of the process. But sadly, it's not with many other product categories. Some of the questions we are faced with in the development of new innovative technologies are these ones. Just when is the innovation good enough? How do you test or evaluate your innovation to make sure it is good enough? How much testing is actually needed? Are you worried about your competitors? Are you going to test your innovation versus their offering in a fair test? One of the first things you have to do with your innovation is figure out how to test it. You have to develop measures under all real-world conditions of use. Let me emphasize that, under all real-world conditions of use, not just the conditions of use that you think of, because once you release your innovation to the world, it may be used differently. Let me take a simple example of an innovation. I always say that it's quite often that packaging innovations don't get quite the respect they deserve. In my lifetime, there have been many interesting ones, including all the tamper-evident packages used on drugs. If you were developing a new bottle cap, or closure as it's called, experience has shown these are some of the kinds of measures you would want to consider evaluating. Smoothness. Because the cap is not smooth, it could cut or injure the user. Size. This determines its fit on the bottle and in the user's hand. Cap torque. This is the force needed to open the package. If it's too loose, it may come off in transit. If it's put on with too much force, it may be difficult or impossible to open. Think of the elderly, the disabled. The number of rotations to remove it. You want enough to provide a good seal, but not so many it's difficult to remove. Seal effectiveness. Are you trying to keep water or air out of the package? Drop strength and impact resistance. People are going to drop this package on their bathroom floor. As it lands, it could hit in any conceivable way. You had better practice dropping this package from about 3 feet or 1 meter on hard surfaces, landing in every conceivable way. So how do you develop a design specification? Here are some of the things you have to take into consideration. Get out of your laboratory and get into the real world. Find out who is the user. Are there issues of age, gender, demographics that they fit into? Are they consumers or doctors or other professionals? Under what conditions of use will they be used, such as temperature and humidity? Are there transportation considerations? Will your innovation survive its transportation path to the end user? These are just some of the elements that must be built into your design specification. And what are the quality implications of product scale up to full production? You must make realistic prototypes or batches using real materials, methods of construction, and fabrication. You have to be sure your product is scalable to the large quantities needed to be commercially viable. When it comes to scaling up your production, moving to pilot plant or full line runs, here's my advice. If you are not going to make it yourself, first, don't trust just anyone to execute your idea. There are many people out there who will claim to be able to make your product. 2, you get what you pay for. Money is always tight early in the innovation process, but be wary of costs that look out of line. And related, number 3, it's often been said, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. 4th, cost save later. Get up and going, make a quality product first, and trim costs second. Here's something you're going to have to face. Are you striving for perfection? Are you procrastinating? I was guilty of this early in my career. I was always one more prototype or one more test away from launch. I had a very smart boss who sat me down and gave me a lecture about risk and timing. You have to remember, all products as launched are imperfect and will be tweaked ongoing. All within reason, of course. And if you delay, a competitor may launch ahead of you. Finally, a word about sales and marketing. As a disclaimer, these are not my areas of expertise. But what I've seen in the countless projects I've been involved with is an average idea executed brilliantly can do better than a brilliant idea executed poorly. If you are not strong in sales and marketing, find someone who is. So thanks for listening. Stay tuned for my next lecture on consumers and users.